Happy Wednesday, YouTube, or whatever day it actually is when you're watching this. What in the world am I yammering about today? Well, considering the state of the industry and the world at large, I don't know how that really ties in, but I felt like just being a little bit expansive there for a moment. I wanted to talk about dispatching and some things that I've begun to notice and consider as red flags for dispatchers' attitudes, methods, what they say, how they say it, things of that nature. So, suffice it to say, as an owner-operator who is being dispatched by the company that I am leased on with, there are pros and cons to that. Obviously, having a dispatcher going to find loads for you and getting things done, super helpful because it takes a lot of pressure off of you as the driver. And there definitely are some real benefits there because they become the shield between you and the broker and you and the customer, and they can help you, in theory at least, address issues, get things rescheduled, and really they're supposed to be, as far as I've been told, they're supposed to help you get the job done while also keeping you rolling, finding good value loads, good mileage loads, whatever the case may be, and help you get where you want to go. And in the cases of what they say is non-forced dispatch, which I've always termed as, they won't call you up and say, hey, I've got a load for you, get on it this time, this date, this place, do it, then we'll go from there. It's a mutual dispatch situation, at least it's what it's supposed to be, but it doesn't feel like that much. And that's been the case for me the last year plus. I've felt less like it's mutual dispatch and more like it's semi-forced dispatch. And I'm not really a fan of it anymore because I don't believe my dispatcher is doing right by me in how this person operates, what they're telling me, how they're communicating, and in general, how things are going. So I want to talk to you a bit about my experience. I'm not going to reveal the company I drive for, because there are some good folks at this company that I probably should have tried to work with sooner, but that's my mistake, and it's just notes for next time in that respect. Anyway, so one red flag, I guess I could say, when it comes to dispatchers is how they speak to you. And that's going to determine a lot about your relationship with that dispatcher. Because if that dispatcher is talking to you in such a way that you feel like you're not doing your job or you're not doing things properly, that's a red flag. But there's two prongs to that red flag. First of all, are you actually not doing your job? Are you not driving the truck in a safe manner? Are you not respecting rules of the road, DOT regulations, FMCSA requirements? Are you not trying to, reach your deliveries on time? Are you not showing up for appointed pickups? Are you not reporting maintenance issues? Are you not communicating with your dispatch or whoever on given loads to make sure everyone knows what's going down? Okay, if you're not doing that, then you as the driver, you've got a problem, you've got to fix those issues. But if you as the driver, you are communicating, you are driving, you are trying to do your job, you are respecting regulations, rules, and everything else, you are showing up for deliveries and pickups, you are communicating problems, you are talking to your dispatch about what's going on, what you're seeing, what's happening, delays, problems, mechanical issues, tires, whatever it is. If you're doing that and your dispatch is still giving you guff about how you're doing things, that's a problem as far as I'm concerned. And that's not good. Because if that dispatcher is the one who's going to help you make your money, then you've got to figure out if that dispatcher is worth staying with or retaining as an employee or however the relationship actually is, because they are the gateway to your income. And the dispatcher and you need to have a good working relationship. relationship. You need to understand them. They need to understand you. You need to be communicating such a way where information is constantly flowing back and forth as it needs to on the important topics. What are my time delays? Why am I delayed? You know, is it my fault I'm delayed, or is it the result of things around me that I'm delayed? And I've got to be honest and transparent. Okay, I overslept. I missed my delivery appointment. That's my mistake. I'm caught in traffic because there's an accident ahead of me. There's no way to get out of it. That's not my problem. I'm just stuck in it. Here's how we adapt. Here's what's going down. Here's what I think we can do. Let's talk to the receiver, the broker, whoever about rescheduling and just keep everyone on the same page. You know, tire exploded, got to get it fixed, can't move, you know, those things happen. All right. And your dispatcher should be on the same page with you on those things and working with you. Now, if you're consistently late and it's consistently your problem, you've got to figure out why that is and make the adjustments you need to get that fixed. But if your dispatcher's harping on you about how you're doing things, not good. I'll give you an example. This morning, my dispatcher texted me and said, I told the receiver that you'd be there at 11:15. Now, I had told my dispatch, sent him a text this morning and said, okay, this is what happened yesterday. I was waiting 5 hours to get loaded. When I got loaded, I used the split brake rule in order to get as far as I could. But when I got to where I overnighted, I was tired. I found a parking space, shut it down because I decided that I was too tired to try to drive, and there was also no guarantee of safe parking at the final destination, either nearby or at the receiver site itself. So I made what I determined to be the safe choice, made sure that myself and my equipment and load was in a good position. Yeah, now I'm 2 hours plus late for the delivery, but truck's okay, I'm okay, load's okay. It'll work out. Dispatcher said that to the receiver or the broker or whoever without consulting me first and really understanding what was going down. Just put something out there and said, I need you to go, and then told me, I need you to go ASAP. I need you to get there as soon as you can. I need you to go, I need you to go, I need you to go. I responded, okay, if I go now, before my 10-hour break is up to complete the split brake rule, my day is shot. I've only got so many hours I can actually work today unless I complete the 10-hour break rule. And they said, we need you to go. And I said, you know what? No, I'm not going until my 10-hour break is completed, because you haven't told me if the receiver is going to accept my late delivery or not. They finally got around to telling me, okay, yeah, the receiver will take you when you get there, just get there as soon as you can. I'm like, okay. As soon as my 10-hour break is complete, I will go. Because frankly, this load is not worth me destroying the rest of my day and potentially whatever load comes next by only having 5 hours of available drive time versus 11. That's not what I consider to be a good business practice. And that's one issue that my dispatcher and I have. Improper communication, in my opinion, from them to me. I communicate, I like to think, key word here, I like to think that I'm communicating well, okay? Just got loaded, just arrived, this issue, that issue, this time, that time, blah, 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 so that they know what's going down. I sent them a lengthy explanation this morning telling them, okay, this is what happened, this is why things happened the way they did, this is where I am now, this is my plan. Okay. The dispatcher, as far as I'm concerned, should be taking that information, and if they don't understand it, getting in touch with you, the driver, and saying, okay, I'm not grasping this, break it down for me real clear, what's going on, why did this happen, how did this happen, I need more information so I can go to the broker or the customer, whoever, and make sure that we're all good. No problem. I have no problem spelling things out to a greater degree in order to make sure that everyone's on the same page. We can get the job done, get the load delivered, everyone goes home happy. I'm okay with that. Even if it means I have to explain myself like a kindergartner. I don't care. The job sometimes requires that level of simplicity and dumbing it down so that everyone is on the same page, because not everyone reads, writes, or thinks at the same level. Some folks grasp nuance very swiftly, others need it spelled out letter by letter. It is what it is. Now, why I'm talking about my dispatcher and how they communicate with me and how they talk to me is that my dispatcher threw me some shade this morning and said, I've noticed over the past few weeks and a month or so that you don't maximize your drive hours. And I thought to myself, this is interesting. And they went on to say, it's like, you only drive 6, 7, 8 hours a day. You don't go, 9, 10, 11. And I was like, oh, you're stepping in it now. Now, some of you truckers out there, you turn and you burn and you're cranking out 600 miles a day like it's nothing. And hey, more power to you. If that's how you got your business set up, that's how you got your run set up, that's how you can make things work, that is fantastic. No hate, no disrespect. I wish I was that good sometimes. However, when things like shipper delays, receiver delays eat up 1, 2, 3, 4 hours of the day, there's a limit on how much you can do to recover that without destroying the next day, because the split break rule is not a catch-all save. You still have to get that clock reset at some point. You still got to take a full 10-hour break to get that clock set, ready to go for the next day. You still got to do these things because that is built into the ELD system. You can't just do the 2-8 and then, keep doing that to your heart's content. At some point, you've got to do the 10-hour break, and you just got to do it. So, yeah, that made me mad. And that's actually, probably going to inspire me to make a significant change in the next couple of weeks here, because I find that personally to be insulting, demeaning, and it shows that my dispatcher does not fully understand what I do and how I do it. And I'll tell you, folks, I put my safety first. I don't care about my truck, trailer, or load. My safety comes first. If I decide it is in my interest, my personal safety, to stop driving at a certain time of day or a certain location, or when I find the best available parking spot that is at a good position in relation to my delivery point and is going to guarantee that myself and my equipment and my cargo are in a safe and secure position, I'm going to do that 10 times out of 10, and I really don't care what anyone says about that. That is my decision as the driver, plus I own the truck. You can't stop me anyway. Besides, what I'm doing is in line with DOT and FMCSA regulations, so anyone who says boo about it can go find themselves a fire hydrant and violate themselves, because I don't care. My safety first, my equipment safety a very close second, my cargo safety third. That's just the end of the line there. And any dispatcher who's going to throw shade like that is not a good dispatcher. Because that tells me that dispatcher wants to put you in a box that they designed, that they established, that they control. And I'm an owner-operator, not a company driver. Company guys have a different thing, have a different level of responsibility that they have to adhere to. I'm an owner-operator. That same responsibility does not exist for me. I have a higher degree of responsibility because I'm paying for the truck, I'm maintaining the truck, I'm fueling the truck, and I'm also driving the truck. Insuring the truck, paying for the plate on the truck. So if I decide that it is in my best interest and in my equipment's best interest to park somewhere rather than just keep turning and burning, oh well, sorry dispatcher. Throw all the shade you want. I don't care. I put my safety first. Yeah, that's going to bother me for a while, but I'll get over it. Probably either when I change dispatchers or change carriers, because it's like, that's the kind of crap that no driver should ever receive unless it is deserved. But when I get stuck at receivers for 5 hours waiting to get loaded and be able to roll, well, that's going to put a bit of a damper on my ability to run 600 miles a day. And don't get me wrong, I want to run 600 miles a day. 600 miles a day usually means I'm making pretty good money that week. But when stuff goes sideways, there's only so much you can do. So that's the long-winded point number one. Point number two, when your dispatcher is not responsive to your needs as a driver or owner-operator, or your wants as a driver or owner-operator. For example, I need to be rolling to make money. We all know this. Whether you're a company or owner-operator, doesn't matter. You know, you just got, if your wheels aren't turning, you're not earning. That's a t-shirt saying, but it's factually true. Unless you're actually turning and burning, you're not making money. So here's a story about where this point comes from. I need a load, all right? Now, Monday, I told my dispatcher, okay, I'm ready for the load. I'm at my truck. I'm ready to go, ready to start my pre-trip inspection. I need a load. I'm here. Let me know what you got, and we'll get going. It's about 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning, all right? My dispatcher waited 2.5 hours to get me a load. Now, I got a response from him saying, okay, working on it. All right, fine. An hour and a half later, I text him, what's the status? Where are we at? How is it looking? This is it. And the only response I got was working on it. Okay, very non-communicative. All right. And then, you know, at this point, I've already eaten lunch in my truck at my parking spot, waiting for my dispatcher to finally get me a load. They finally get me a load. I think it was like noon or 1 at this point. I think it's 12:30, 1 o'clock. They finally got me a load. No, it was noon. I'm sorry, because it took me 3 hours to get to the pickup. And then I had to go through, you know, Milwaukee and Chicago, and then Gary, Indiana, in order to get somewhere near the delivery. So already the week is off to a poor start because my dispatch didn't get me a load faster. Now, I will give my dispatcher this a bit of grace and say, yeah, the market is weird right now in certain parts of the country because fuel costs are wonky, freight rates are down. There is no such thing as stability right now. Everything is sideways, everything is wonky, everything is up in the air. But as far as I'm concerned, when I can get on the free version of the DAT load board and just look and see what's out there and see, you know, loads that are paying okay and still had to wait 2.5 to 3 hours to get a load, no, that's poor work on the part of my dispatcher. No driver should ever have to wait 3 hours for a load unless they're in a dead zone and it's literally like pulling teeth to get freight. However, I'm based in the Chicagoland area. Chicagoland area is a major freight market. It produces and it consumes. It is also a major transition point for, you know, like 7 railroads. There's a lot of freight coming in and out of Chicago. We've got 3 airports, We've got Rockford, Midway, and O'Hare bringing in air freight. You know, there's a lot of stuff moving around the area, and I'm not far from a lot of it, and yet I got sent 3 hours away because my dispatcher's like, this is the best I can do. And I'm thinking to myself, really? You're gonna send me 3 hours and 100 and something miles deadhead for this load that is barely gonna pay $3 a mile when all is said and done? Really? This is the best you can do. So, yeah. Not being responsive to my needs. And then when I asked to go, hey, what do you have for a deep west load? What do you have for big mileage? Like now, another key point to mention is that I'm on a short week this week because I've got stuff coming up this weekend that I'm trying to have a social life. So my friends are getting together, I've been invited. I'm not gonna miss it because they're my friends. I want to see them. I don't get to see them much because I'm on the road and, you know, they've got lives and jobs and everything else they've got going on, families. So when a big confab comes up, it's like, it's important for me to be there. I want to be part of that because if I can, you know, I feel it's good, fun, and healthy to get out of this truck and go see people and touch grass. But when dispatchers aren't actually being responsive to your needs, all right, not a good sign. And then when you are available for, you know, 2-3 weeks at a time, and you say, okay, what do you have for a deep west or a deep south or, you know, a California or an Oregon or a Washington State or a western Montana or Idaho, whatever. And they tell you, oh, okay, I'll find you something. And then they send you to Michigan or Detroit or Indianapolis or Virginia or, you know, western North Carolina. It's like, okay, this is not bad because if the value of the money is good, all right, well, the money's there, why not? Let's do it. But then if you suddenly hear, oh yeah, I got this driver, went from Chicago to Spokane for $8,000, it's like, wait a minute, I asked for that. Why didn't you get that for me? What's going on here? I was available for that kind of freight. Why am I not getting that kind of freight? Is it just I'm not getting lucky, being available at the right time? Or are you just not giving me what I want because you don't like how I do business? Legitimate questions. Now, I'm going to assume part of it is dumb luck. When I roger up being available, okay, dispatch was at the top of the list, whatever, or next in line, load comes up, sends it to me, okay, here we go. And then I find out later someone else got an $8,000 run to Spokane. All right. Not a fan of that. I want to go to Spokane. Seems like a nice place to go to. Go through the mountains, go through Montana, drive through the northern Rockies. Sounds like a lot of fun. And yet, when I am available for 2 weeks at a time or more, when you can do those kind of runs, they're not coming my way. That's a problem. That means my dispatch either is doing me a disservice or is not being fully honest with me about where the freight rates are and where things are going or whatever. So that's an issue. And then finally, dispatch is throwing you in an attitude and tone of voice, whatever. It's like, this ties in with both previous points. Like the dispatcher's treating you a certain way, speaking to you a certain way, just not being responsive to your needs, not communicating well with you, not working with you on what you want to do as a driver or an owner-operator. At that point, it's like, okay, it's time to move on. It's time to either change dispatchers or change carriers. So that's what I'm thinking about doing, because I am really not happy at all with how my dispatch is working for me. Now, granted, there's a lot I don't know about the market, how it works, what's going on in the nation right now and the world at large. I understand that. However, it's impossible for me to learn when I'm relying on one conduit of information at all times for my business. And frankly, I'm tired of it. Fuel costs are too high for me to accept this kind of treatment. And freight rates are so weird that I feel it's time for me to take more control over how my business operates. So, change is in the wind, and in the next, few weeks or a month or so, I'll be talking about what I'm doing to actually, try to improve my business conditions, because the bottom line is literally my responsibility. And if what is currently happening is not serving the bottom line, I've got real questions to ask and real changes to make, both in how I approach the business and how I accept treatment from anyone else. And that's something that anyone as an owner-operator, even a company driver, needs to think about as well. If your dispatcher's treating you poorly, change them out. If your carrier's treating you poorly, move to someone else. Plenty of options out there. It all comes down to what you want to do, what you're willing to accept, and the strength and confidence required to actually make the change. Anyway, folks, that's all my whining and griping for today. I will see you down the road.